Hello and welcome to the online classes of computer science with Python. This is Renuka, and in our today's session we are going to discuss about tuples. Tuples, what are tuples and how we can assess tuple elements, how we can create a tuple, negative indexing and range of indices, then changing tuple values whether possible or not and how we can change them, then loop through a tuple, finding elements in a tuple, adding and removing element, and finding the length of tuple and joining two tuples. So the very first is the definition of tuple. A tuple is a collection which is ordered and unchangeable. Collection of values which is ordered and unchangeable. Unlike list, in list we can make changes. In earlier videos we have discussed about list, and in a list we can make the changes, but in a tuple we cannot make changes. So a tuple is unchangeable, or we can say immutable. Now how to create a tuple? So creating a tuple, there are different ways. First is that we can create a tuple with a single value. So with a single value, if we want to create a tuple, so we can say t1 is equal to like this a, and we can show this with an example. Open Python, go to start Python programs, go to Python, okay, and here we can show with the help of example that how we can create a tuple with a single value. So t1 is equal to, suppose we say t1 is equal to 10. In that case, if we print the type of t1, so it is showing integer, you can say it is showing integer, but we want to make t1 as a tuple. So for tuple with one element, we should have write like this. And now if we type t1, we can see that it is showing tuple. So for one with one element, we have to end that element with a comma to make a tuple of one element. So this is how we can make a tuple of one element. Then creating tuple using built-in function. So if we want to create an empty tuple, then we can write t is equal to tuple, open close brackets, because for tuples there are round brackets and for list there were square brackets. So tuple, empty tuple, like open and close round brackets, and then print t, the tuple is empty. And if contains some values like string values, t1 contains apple, banana, cherry, and then when we will print t1, it will show all the three values. Now how to assess tuple items? Tuple items can be assessed as we were assessing the list items. They are also subscript, and with the help of scripts we can use the tuple items. For example, 10, this is a tuple, and if I say print t1 and 1, so it will print 89, because index of 10 is 0, index of 89 is 1. So the elements in the tuple are indexed as 0, 1, 2. So we can give the index in the bracket of tuple name, that is t1, then 1. So it will print the item which is present at first index. So this is how we can assess the elements present in tuple. Negative indexing, if we want to print the last item, that means we want to print from the very right hand side of the tuple. And suppose in case we don't know about the number of elements present in the tuple, in that case we can write t1 minus 1. So minus 1 will be the index of the last item. So in this way, without knowing the number of items or number of elements in a tuple, we can print the last item. Second last item index will be minus 2, like next index will be minus 3. In this way, negative indexing of tuples is there. So this is minus 1, this is minus 2, and this is minus 3. So if I say minus 1, then cherry will be printed. Then range of indexing. So if I say 1 comma 4, if it is 0, index 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we don't want to print the complete tuple, but from 1 to 3 we want to print the element. So 1 2 3 we have to give the range 1 is to 4 because 4 is excluded, index 4 is excluded. So in this case output will be 4, 5 and 6. So that is range of indexes. Then changing tuple value. Tuples are permanent and we cannot change. They are immutable and so we cannot change. But if we apply our logic or if we convert a tuple into a list, then we can make the changes. So first this is a tuple. We are making it in a list with the help of list function. Then the at first index we are putting 35. So here in spite of 56 we are putting 35. Then changing back this list, that is y, into tuple and storing it in x and printing x. Now it will show you 23, 35, 78, 90 and 76. So in this way you can change the values in a tuple directly. There is no option because tuple is immutable. Loop through a tuple. If you want to access single item of a tuple, then you can make use of loop. For example, this is tuple t1 for x in t1. So it will start from the first element, so index 0 in t1, and it will print x. Then second element in from t1 print banana, then third print cherry, until the tuple is having elements. This loop will continue. So in this way you can transverse or you can go through each element of the tuple. Now if you want to check whether some item is present in the tuple or not, then we can make use of in keyword, in and not in. So if you want to check whether apple is present in the tuple, then our statement will be if apple in t1. If apple is in t1, in that case print yes, apple is in the fruit tuple, or we can say in that case the output will be true. So with the help of in, we can check whether a given item is present in the list or not. Next is tuple length. Tuple length means number of items in a tuple, like 1 2 3 4 5. So here the output will be 5. So with the help of length keyword or length method, we can use find out the length of the tuple. Then add items. We cannot add items to a tuple because tuples are immutable. Then remove items. Again we cannot remove single item from a tuple because tuples are unchangeable, but we can delete the complete tuple with the help of del keyword. If we say del t1, in that case the complete tuple t1 will be erased from the computer's memory, and after that if you want to print t1, it will show you error because t1 as a tuple no longer exists in computer's memory. How to join two tuples? Simply use add operator and the tuples will be joined as joined the list. Thank you, and in the next video we'll discuss about the methods used in tuple.